Okay, good morning. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going over lesson 7.3 on pages 276 and 277. Okay, we're using percents today. Now, this isn't new because we're still using this formula. Percent times your whole equals your part. Okay, so we're still using that formula, but they're giving us like a story problem for you to use that formula to figure out the answer. Okay? All right. I'm in your book today. I'm going over the examples that they have in your book, beginning on page 276. Okay, if you want to follow along with me. Um, I'm going to go over example one first of all. Okay, it says of the 430 delegates, only 350 showed up due to the bad weather. What percent were able to attend? Okay, and it says to round to the nearest tenth of a percent once you get your answer. So they're asking us what percent, so we don't know the percent yet. So since we don't know the percent, we're just going to label that with a P, times. Now, our whole would be how many delegates there were altogether. It says of the 430 delegates. Okay, so that would be our 430. And our part then would be the part of the delegates that it tells us, which is 350. Okay, talk yourself through those story problems and it'll be easier to plug in your whole and your part. Okay, now remember, P times 430 means this: 430P equals 350. Okay, this means the same thing as P times 430. Okay, now what we've learned in algebra is our goal is to get our variable on this side of the equation by itself. And since this is multiplied, you're going to have to divide. So we'll divide both sides by 430. Okay? And 430 divided by 430 just leaves you with 1p. Okay? And so now we're going to divide here. Again, your top number goes inside your division box. So 350 divided by 430. You say, well, that 430 won't go into 350. You're correct. So what we're going to have to do is put a decimal point, okay, and then we'll add a 0. Now, we're not going to go through all the division because you know how to do that. But here's what you'll get if you divide correctly. Okay, and it will keep going. But we're going to stop there because it tells you to round your answer to the, see what it say, the nearest tenth of a percent. Okay, so if you have this decimal, 0.8139, okay, now remember to make a decimal into a percent because that's what we're trying to find is what our percent is. You have to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So we would have 81 and point, and it says round it to the nearest tenth. Well, here's what's in the tenths column. So to help you know if the 3 is going to stay the same or go up, you're going to look at the number to the right, which is a 9. And since that number is 5 or higher, the 3 has to go up to a 4. So your answer would be 81.4%. Okay? All right, that's example 1. Okay, let's go on to example 2. Okay, we're still on page 276. It says there are 200 kilograms of a metal alloy known to be 60% zinc. How much zinc does the alloy contain? Okay, now it tells us the percent here, which is 60. So let me put our 60% here, times. Okay, and our whole will be the 200 kilograms of metal alloy, because that's what it's talking about. That's all the alloy that the metal alloy that there is 200. Okay, because it's asking us, it's saying the known metal alloy known to be 60% zinc. So only 60% of that 200 is zinc. Okay, so that's the part. Okay, So let's see, our 60% times our 200 equals our part, which is what we're trying to find here. Okay, so let's see, this would be, remember when you are multiplying a percent, you got to make it a decimal. So it would be 0.60 times your 200. Okay, and if you multiply correctly, you're going to get 120. Okay, so that's your answer for example 2. All right, we won't go through the multiplying. We've done a lot of that, so you should be able to do those correctly. If you do have trouble, let me know. All right, last example, page 277, example 3. It says, find the monthly income of the Oliver family if their monthly mortgage payment of $840 represents 21% of their monthly income. Gives us the percent. Let's plug in our percent, which would be 21%. Okay, times, okay. Now, we're trying to find their whole monthly income, right? Because it tells us part of their monthly income goes for their mortgage payment of $840. So that's the part of their monthly income. So we're trying to find the whole. We're trying to find their monthly income, and their part that they're paying on for their mortgage is $840. Okay? So here we're trying to find the whole, which is their monthly income. Okay, so 21%, make that a decimal. It's 0.21 times W, okay, equals $840. Okay, now this is multiply, so we need to undo that by dividing. So we're going to divide both sides by 0.21. All right, so $840 divided by 0.21. Just a reminder, when you're dividing with a decimal, you have to make that decimal a whole number. So this has to go 2 places to the right, and that made the 0.21 a whole number. So if that went 2 places to the right, your decimal point here has to go 2 places to the right. Okay, always do that if you need to before you figure out your answer. Okay, and if you divide correctly, you will get 4,000. So their monthly income, which is the whole, would be $4,000. Okay? All right, do your skill check. You have 3 story problems in your skill check. Do those and send me your answers.